Yep.
Question?
Hello, Ed from Universal Digest.
Hi, Ed.
Thanks for taking the time, Peter.
That's fine. Ed, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Tell us what happened.
Right. On the night in question, it was February 1999. I've clarified that because my daughter and son were with me at the time. I left home to come by here roughly about 11:45 midnight, and I went over to Nacton, which is that way, and obviously I came back a little bit later, which was roughly about 12:10, so 10 past midnight. Coming back with the two children in the car. My oldest son was driving because he was learning to drive. And my daughter even remembered that when I contacted them over the weekend. Little things come out, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So we come across Orwell Bridge where we travelled a short while ago, and I was in the passenger side, so I could look over quite easily because he was quite a competent driver by that time. And I saw this light, and I said, "Look at that light." How you do? Stupid, but you know, you say, "Look at the light" to the other people in the car, and so we kept an eye on it. So as we turned left off that A14 down to this A137 down towards Tattingstone, I said we wouldn't normally come down here. We'd continue along this outer road to Stutton where we lived. I said pull in this next left and we'll stop and have a look, which is where we're parked now with the car. And so we stopped, got out the car and looked up where this bright light was showing, because obviously it must have had a light that showed to the side as well as down, because we could see it whilst coming along Orwell Bridge. So it wasn't just a downward beam that you could only see where it shone on the ground. It was definitely a sideward light as well. And so we got out the car and we looked across to this field, which is where
And bearing in mind the shrubbery was not there.
No, the shrubbery wasn't hit. It was 20 years ago.
Right.
The shrubbery was not nowhere. Well, I don't think there was any at the time actually.
Okay.
Because we had a clear view, but we looked up into the sky where this object was. I was playing football at the time, not whilst we were standing here. And,
not at midnight.
So I was able to estimate the size of this object was the size of a football field.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't the same shape because it was triangular with with the point facing towards us. And I estimated then, and I still maintain, that it was about 50 yards up from the ground.
Wow, that's really low.
So we had a very good view of it, although we couldn't see any detail on the, well, I call it a fuselage because it was up in the air. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You couldn't see any detail. All you could see was this light coming roughly central of the triangle.
And what kind of light or lights were on this triangle?
Well, it was just a white light in that centre coming down.
Oh, the center coming down. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously the side part of the lens, because you could see it from the side. And we got out the vehicle obviously and was looking at this object, and I think we actually might have said what it was at the time, and we weren't scared. That's the bit what amazed me.
Wow.
You'd think, well, you've got something so close, what is it and what's happening? No, I wasn't scared. We just watched this item for about between 10 and 15 minutes.
10 and 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
It was just hovering?
Yeah, it was hovering.
And about 50 yards above.
Yeah, 50 yards above. So it was, say, in the mid part of this field that we're standing beside.
Right.
So it didn't seem to be far away, and you could hear this whir of like a motor running. It didn't change. It didn't speed up. It was just whir all the time we stood here. So we just kept watching it. I suppose we were chatting at the time as well, but we didn't say too much. We were mainly just mesmerised, I think, to watch this.
I'm sure you were.
This object.
You mentioned something about maybe the color of the craft.
Yeah, it was definitely a grey, not what I call a flat grey. There was you couldn't see a pattern on it, but yet the grey was made up of different lines, I think.
Oh, really?
If that makes sense. They were quite close together,
Okay.
but it made the grey colour of the object. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but I hate to interject.
Yeah.
Maybe, was it like a metallic gray, maybe, or?
didn't appear
Well,
to
you
be.
could- okay,
It didn't appear to
there
be
you go.
metallic grey. It was a dense.
Just a dense grey.
It was a fairly dense grey, but I seem to remember it was like things are made up of different makeup, aren't they? Like it was just loads of lines together, which, looking at it from this distance, it did appear to be just plain grey.
But how wide do you think it was?
Right, because we were so near to it, we couldn't actually see how wide it was. That was the thing about it. You couldn't say it was so many feet or whatever.
It was more like you were looking up at it.
Yeah, it was just. I think it was just this mass, and we never even thought or discussed how wide it was at the time. It just didn't enter our heads. Do you know what I mean? For some reason, I don't know why, but I think where this light was as well. Although the main area of it was flat, there was this area where this light was, as though there was something on the underside of this thing. It didn't appear to be large, but it was where the light was housed in. So whether it was an entrance to this craft, I don't know.
That is similar to some others that I've
Is it?
heard. Yes,
Right,
actually.
yeah.
Now the light was it? What color was it?
White, so
It was white,
a
okay.
plain white light. Yeah,
Just wanted to be sure.
yeah, not white, because some lights are really white, aren't they?
Yes.
This was a yellowy white light.
Okay, there you go.
How some car headlights are. You know, you get white and then you get a yellowy one.
Mhm.
It was like that, you know what I mean? But it was quite strong. The light didn't light us up, but it did light the ground up.
So you could see the ground underneath it
Yeah,
clearly. Okay.
yeah, you could. And because after about, say, getting towards the quarter of an hour, we were sort of, we stood slightly to the side and we were sort of looking a bit like that to it. And all of a sudden, no warning, no change in sound or anything, this object just went whoosh. And it was just a slight whoosh, nothing else, and it went as far as we could see to the skyline over there. And I mean, it went west.
And very
west.
None of this hedgerow was here at all.
No, none of the hedgerow was there.
I'll geotag that direction for you guys in a minute, and you can add that
yeah,
to the video.
That'd be a good idea,
Okay.
John.
But say that I mean to estimate how far that skyline went, because even though it was 12:15 at night, it was one of those nights that you'd still see the sky and silhouettes of trees and that
Right.
in the distance.
Wow. Now, from the point that it
Yeah.
was immobile, or
Yeah.
rather hovering,
Yeah.
to the time that it went whoosh
Yeah.
and took off and you lost sight,
Right.
how many seconds was that?
Right, under 2 seconds.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah, definitely under. I know you can count 1 second, 1,000. It was probably just 1 second because we sort of, what the hell? We said to ourselves, it's gone.
Oh my
Do you know
gosh.
what I mean?
You see, and you have two
With-
other witnesses, your son
Yeah.
and your daughter.
Yeah, my son and my daughter, and they're quite credible.
Oh, yeah, I'd say so.
If I do say it myself, do you know what I mean? But it was the one thing that was quite incredible was the lack of sound.
Yes.
That
yes.
obviously the whirring went because it disappeared, but it didn't make any.
To be that large and then within a second, it's gone.
Yeah, it wasn't revving up at all to make this departure. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was just a slight. It wasn't a loud whoosh. It was just. Whoosh, and it's gone. And we just. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And to be there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was over 10 minutes, and we didn't talk much, which I find a little bit weird thinking back.
Well, you're probably a little bit stunned.
Yeah, but we definitely were not scared. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We even said afterwards when we got home and was telling their mum and that. So we weren't scared, and we saw this object. You know what I mean?
Goodness.
Tattingstone. Yeah,
Wow.
I just wish I knew the exact date because, I should have wrote it
Oh, well,
down.
no, February of 1999.
Yeah,
It's
But-
close enough. I
yeah.
mean, sometimes people are lucky to get the year right
Yeah.
after something like that.
oh yeah, but there was another sighting in Suffolk in Hadley on the 6th
Oh,
of February.
the 5th of February.
Fifth, or the sixth.
The 6th, yeah.
The 6th.
But the way they described it wasn't the same as what we saw.
And
You
you,
know,
sorry, after you.
No,
Did you say you've got
I've
clipping.
I've got a picture of the writing about it. There's not much, but I've got it on my
Okay.
phone. I could show you.
Excellent.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, Ed, what were you going to say there, sir?
oh, it's unimportant now. I don't remember. I think we've got it covered.
Okay.
But
I
that,
don't think I've missed anything. You know what I mean?
for
yeah.
Peter, I can't thank you enough for
Yeah.
taking the time to share this with us.
Okay, Ed, it's a pleasure.
Well, you bet.
You don't find too many people that want to listen.
Yes, it goes with the job sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, it's an honor to hear it. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing because it's very credible.
Yeah.
We're getting, this part of East Anglia, so to speak, has really been active a long time.
Absolutely. It's
It's stupendous. So, and
I mean, prior to this happening, I used to work at the police headquarters as a support worker,
right.
and I started in '85, and people were still talking about the Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah,
Whatever-
December 26th,
Yeah, whatever,
1980.
yeah, whatever you want to call that. And I think for 20, I was there for 25 years, and still 20 years later, it still came up occasionally about the Rendlesham Forest, because there were police officers actually there, weren't there?
Yes, there were.
Yeah, so I mean, it did come up. And
Yeah, I have a little cliche. I said, yeah, they sent a cadre of police, military, and others out
Yeah.
to the middle of the forest for no reason at all.
no reason at all. Yeah.
There's my ex-USAF friend who was like 81st at the time. He said, "You don't send guys chasing a satellite around the forest,
Or Santa Claus and his reindeer.
or a Santa
With
Claus on,
A10.
yeah, as on the radio. Yeah, absolutely.
Hardly.
Okay.
Peter, thanks again. That's
Yeah, it
wonderful.
was a pleasure to be of any help that it might be
Well, thanks for letting us
to
publish
form,
this.
to form the picture of what happens on our universe.
The more people like you coming forward,
Yeah,
it helps not only with disclosure, but an ultimate confirmation of disclosure.
yeah, and certain things tie up, don't they,
Yes, they do.
with other things, which helps
It
hopefully.
really does.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.